So welcome back to part 8 of our Subaru that we're building as part of our car technique series, a revisited build of the original Subaru build from many moons ago. So parts cleanup, we've already cleaned up the body, sprayed it, painted, etc. This is parts clean up all the little parts. I've got my Tamiya side cutters, which is my preferred tool for snipping off parts. And we're going through, and right now I am systematically going through the instructions, looking for part in order. This kit's one of those kits where not every part's used, so you need to go through and make sure. Cutting off a few sprue cutters, and then using the fine edge, flat side of the sprue cutter, cut as close as you comfortably can to the part. That will remove most of the actual sprue point itself. Once you're happy you've done that on all the parts, you can come with sanders. So you can use various sanders, there's loads of makes out there. I tend to use the Ultimate Modeling Product sanders, so I'll use a variety of their sponge and thinny sticks. So they're soft sponge and harder plastic back, like this one. So I use the harder ones on anything that needs a straight edge, like this. And I use the sponge ones on anything curved or anything I don't want to round off the end. And I'll follow it up with a buffer at the end. This will bring the plastic back to like new plastic. So what we want to do here is get rid of any sprue points, seam lines, anything unsightly we don't want on the plastic, and basically get it back to looking like brand new plastic again. So it's a very boring part of the hobby. This is the part I hate the most, but it's an essential part. Now, I used to go through section by section and clean everything up, paint it, assemble it. Now I do it all in batches. So everything is cut off, everything is cleaned up together, everything is primed together, everything is painted together, detail painted, decaled, so on and so forth, until it comes to final assembly. And that's a very efficient way of building. So that's why I do it now. So like I say, it is a laborious part, but it's an essential part of modeling. Like I say, get rid of all the excess sprue you can with your cutters, and then using a variety of sanders of your choice, you can go around and clean up the excess plastic. Like I said, we want it looking like new plastic. On rounder parts like this, we've got a sponge, and what we'll do, you'll find there'll be a seam from edge to edge for the moulding process. We're just going to remove the seam. Now be very careful here, parts like this are very easy to snap. Been there and done it many times myself. So you don't need a lot of pressure, let the sander do the work. Yes, it's an old adage, it's an old saying, but it's true. Let the grit of the sander do the work. Don't be overly aggressive, and just take your time working through cleaning up the seams. Now, how far you go is entirely up to you, because there'll be a seam for all the little bellows on that steering rack. On the likes of this roll cage, there's a seam line inside every single bit. Getting sanders in there is tricky, and I find the best way is to get a fresh scalpel blade and scrape the seam line off. It's a very effective way of doing it on parts like this. I won't use it on other parts normally, but on parts like this where there are dozens of little nooks and crannies, this is a very efficient way of cleaning up the part. So just be careful you don't stab yourself or cut yourself. Just be very careful doing this. Once cleaned up, an old toothbrush. This is a toothbrush from my boy who's now 10. I think he had this when he was 1. Mickey Mouse. I've had this for 9 years. It's been in loads of videos. And a nice old soft toothbrush. Obviously, don't use one that's in rotation, somebody using in the bathroom and put it back. Don't do that. This is an old one, and it's great for removing sanding dust, debris, from parts, from panel lines, a lot. It's a very useful tool. Now, on parts like this has got multiple problems. So there's an ejector pin mark inside the spring. So as you can see there, I've got my knife, and I'm just going to go right to the edge of the spring and take it down. And that will cut it, and then I can cut it from underneath, and that will remove the ejector pin. They're quite unsightly. If you have a close look, you'll see it, and it isn't supposed to be there. So cleaning these up, each one of these will have these. Sometimes there's one per side. So parts like this need a multiple cleanup. So we're going to use a knife on that part. We're going to use a thinny stick on another part and a sponge on another. It's multi-angle, multi-shape, everything. So these parts can take a fair bit of cleanup. So just take your time. There's no rush. It's a boring part of the job. Put some music on, put a podcast on, or a YouTube video, or even back, come and join my Alpha Hangouts. Links in the description of the video down below. You can sit and model with us. And when you're doing things like that, the monotony soon goes away. Like I say, using a knife as well. The monotony soon goes away. Before you know it, you've cleaned up all your parts and you're ready for paint. So like I say, parts like this require a multitude of different sanding, scraping options, and it's a way of working through step by step until you're happy that's all cleaned up. Now, there's many ways of doing this. This is the way I do it. If you didn't really want to, you wouldn't have to do it. These are parts that are underneath. I never pick my models up and look. So if I left these with seam lines, I'd never ever know. But you bought the kit, you might as well make the best job you can. And for me, everything is in close-up on camera, in pictures, so I kind of have no choice. But if you didn't want to approach this step, if you're a newbie, and you don't want to go that far in depth, you just want a shelf queen, curbside kit, then you don't have to do this stage. But my adage is, and I used to hate doing interiors, and I still do to a degree, it's probably one of the most boring parts for me, is I pay for the kit, I might as well get as much enjoyment out of it as I can. And this is just part of the model building process. So, like I say, use a sander of your choice, knife of your choice. This isn't the be-all and end-all way of doing it. It's the way I do it, and it's an efficient way. Like I say, doing it in batches, clean everything up, prime, paint, etc., etc., is a very efficient way of building models. That way, at the end, as you'll see, you'll end up with a whole array of finished sub-assemblies, and the build will come together before you know it. It's a very efficient way of working. And for me, making videos like this and doing this for a living, it's an essential way. It really is. But as you can see, one part done. There's another 3 similar parts to do. So again, pick it up and away you go. Above all, just be gentle. These parts break so easy, and they always lose their strength then, and it makes life a bit of a nightmare. But there we go. There's basic parts cleanup. I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, post down below, and I'll try my best to answer them. We'll be back in part 9 very, very soon. As always, wanting access on all these videos, you can become a patron. There's a link down below. There's links to everything else down below. Everything associated with me is linked. And as always, a huge thanks to my current patrons whose name is going to flash up on screen right now. Catch you next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.